Listen, Graciano, this has been a long time in the making. I'm super excited about having you here with me. I think you know, of all people, knowing my backstory um, and what it took to actually get to this table. The journey has been I'm gonna, it gets a little bit emotional, but it has had its ups and downs, and I really appreciate you've always been someone who I can always call and count on when things get a little crazy, and
Blurry,
yeah,
just a little blurry.
yeah,
That's it.
and this is again, I really appreciate having you on here. I've when I started this, there were a list of people that I wanted to have on. You were definitely at the top of that list, and I'm excited to have you. So, welcome to the AM experience, my brother.
I am super, super excited to be here. You have no idea how excited I am to be here. And if I can contribute or add value in any way, my job is done. It's a proud moment for me to watch you here with the setup. I know how difficult this is to get set up, and it's just a table, a couple chairs, some mics, and some stuff. But to be able to get and make that leap of like I can do this and then actually make it a reality. I'm super happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Hopefully, we have a great. I'm certain that we're gonna have a great
We always
conversation.
have great
We always have
conversations.
great conversations,
We,
but I'm certain this is gonna be a great conversation. Hopefully, with some really good topics, and the people that are tuning in can get some value and some actionable information.
that's
That
it.
hopefully, if we can inspire just one person, I'm good. Just one person.
Listen, that's the goal, and people don't realize it. The car industry, we are looked at like nobody. I talk about this whole time. Nobody ever grew up saying, "I want to be a car salesman one day." Right?
Well, I sure didn't.
Exactly.
I
So
didn't grow up and say, "Hey, man, I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna do this." And when I grow up, if I get all the things right and I do well in school, maybe someday I could sell cars. That was not the case.
But that being said, it's such a rewarding industry if you do it the right way, right? That now, don't get me wrong. There are people in this industry who give it a bad rap. We know that. Even to this day, we think that time has passed. It's not. Even to this day, you still get that. So I want to highlight people such as yourself who have taking the initiative to really say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to be that type of salesperson. I'm going to be the type of person who builds relationships, who really cares about my clients and goes the step above and beyond what everyone else is doing to make sure they provide an incredible service. And your success is a testament to that.
Well, I thank you. I appreciate that. And I wake up every single morning with that chip on my shoulder, knowing that I have to prove everybody wrong. It's not necessarily to prove myself right. It's I have to prove everybody wrong. This is not what the car business looks like. This is not what a car salesman is like. And without a doubt, the car business not only saved my life, it completely transformed my life.
Oh,
It
100%.
allowed me to live my dreams. I am currently living a dream life. This is not in the cards for a person like
Oh,
me that
100%.
came from where I came from. And I'm absolutely living a dream life. And it's all thanks to the car business. Well, I had a little bit to do with that, but it's all thanks to the car business, which I happen to think it's still in 2025 the best kept secret in
Oh,
America.
100%. And the other thing we don't talk about is, and we're going to talk about your background, but being Hispanic, men running high performing multi-million dollar businesses. I mean, you know my backstory. I have a GED. I don't have a college degree hanging on my wall at home. My mother, before I worked for the car business, I worked at Chase Auto Finance, and my mother had my business card with a magnet on her refrigerator, and she would say,
Proud.
My son is an executive at Chase." She would tell her friends, "My son is an executive." I was a manager in the customer service department at Chase Auto Finance, and my mother would tell people, "My son is an executive at Chase." And then one day I came home and I said, "I'm going to sell cars, mom. I'm going to go sell cars." She's like, "You going to do what?" I could have told her I'm going to be a drug dealer, and it would have been the same response. And I'm going to tell you something. When I told her I'm going to sell cars, I said, "Mom, listen, I'm going to be now honest, upfront, and knowledgeable. And if I can't be successful doing it that way, then I'll go back to the bank. I can go do something else."
Mhm.
And I'll tell you
That's
something.
always going to be there.
That's it. And she said, "Go for it." And I'll tell you something. have an incredible life, a beautiful wife and kids, beautiful family. I've traveled, I've made millions of dollars in my career, and it's all from taking care of customers. And
Mhm,
that's what I know you guys at
mhm.
in the stores that you've been in, you pride yourself on is going above and beyond and making sure you create an incredible experience. So let's back it up a little bit because I know you and I can talk forever. We actually had conversations that probably should have been podcasts.
Yeah.
For
If there was only a camera in the
Yeah, well,
room.
there's always a camera, but we just never turned it on,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
why I tell people, it's not just take the camera out and press record. Um, let's rewind a little bit. Let's go to your background. Tell me about where do you grow up? What area? Where are you from?
I love that. These are so far good questions because I know the answers to these questions.
Good.
Hopefully, you don't stump me. So, where I grew up, I grew up in Jackson Heights, which I'm very proud of. Jackson
Queen's
Heights,
kid.
Queens. I'm a Queens kid at heart. I was born and raised, and I was raised, and I lived up until my 30s in Queens. I've only lived in two places in my life, and that was in Queens, New York, and where I live now, which is in Palm Beach, Florida. So I've only lived in those two places, and for me, growing up in Jackson Heights, for those that don't know about Jackson Heights, it is the most
Oh,
diverse
100%
community on the planet, the most languages spoken, and the most countries represented.
represented. Yep.
So for me, going to school and having somebody that was whether they were Asian or Middle Eastern or Hispanic, and understanding the different levels of different, Latin. If you're from
100%.
South America, Central America, the Caribbean, knowing that as well, for me it was normal. Growing up, it was just like normal, the
It's the
diversity.
melting pot.
It is
The melting
absolutely
pot
a melting pot,
of the country.
and it's a lot of. I'm first generation born in America. Both my parents immigrated from the Dominican Republic, so my heritage is from the Dominican Republic. So I'm fluent in English, Spanish, read, write, everything. And growing up in a neighborhood like that, where a lot of people are either fresh immigrants or first generation, like myself, there's a lot of hard work. All you see is
Oh,
hard work.
so
Hard work is normal.
100%. So let me ask you this: what did success as a kid? What was your image of what success? I ask this question a lot because the answers are kind of crazy. What did success look like to you as a child?
Well, it depends when you ask me. So let's say my parents, and we'll probably dive into that a little bit more. But
Hmm.
I grew up in a small mom and pop restaurant, right? Since the age of 6 or 7,
Hmm.
my parents had a small little restaurant. It seats six, so it's not like this,
That's great. I
high
love it.
capacity, big location. It was
And you
a
can mention the restaurant because I've been to the restaurant.
yeah, it
It's
was a
great.
small restaurant, Chato restaurant. Shout out to Chato restaurant, my parents.
Great
And
restaurant.
I grew up in that environment, and in that environment where you're working in a restaurant, usually a white t-shirt and jeans. And I see my dad in the kitchen or my mom in the kitchen, and there's not really um, you know nicely dressed people because you're working with food and you're a server, you're this and you're that. And we used to have people that would walk in a suit, right? Didn't know what they worked at, but they looked successful. So to me, my first association that I can remember, as far as like, hey, I want to be successful, was wearing a suit.
Wow.
And it wasn't until I got much older that I realized, the people that are wearing suits, what they're doing, which are they were in real estate or they were mortgages, and that's just because there was a real estate office right around the corner. And for me, I was like, man, if I could grow up one day
I wear a
and I could
suit.
wear a suit, it wasn't associated with a particular job or an industry. It was like, if I could wear a suit, you go to work, you get to dress up
Oh, absolutely.
and look good every single day in a suit for work. To me, that
You
was
made it.
you made it. That was
Your
success.
parents look at you when you
That
put
was
that suit
success.
on. Your
That was
parents.
success. There was nobody in my family, from my recollection, that went to work in a suit.
That's awesome. And I asked that question because the truth is, you know, I don't know if it's a cultural thing or what it is, but I never looked at it as like I want to be a banker, I want to be an investor, I want to be a business. I just said I want to own our home. Like I want to, be able to take care of my family. That's to me what success was, hey, being able to put food on the table, right? My parents worked hard. My father worked nights, my mother worked days, my mom had a great job, but it was never something where we were like, hey, you have to be a doctor, you have to be an attorney, you have to be. No, it was take care of your family. That's what success looked like to me. So that's great. I love that. Now let's fast forward a little bit. We're gonna fast forward throughout this process. Um, what were some of your first jobs? Tell me about some of the first jobs you had before you got into the automotive industry.
Before, I'll say it on the podcast, but I'll probably get, looked at weird. I started working at the restaurant. It was, when I say small mom and pop restaurant, I mean small. There was a total of 4 employees, which was my mom, my dad, my older brother, and myself. And it wasn't until a couple years that we were there, we were able to afford to pay one employee and
Mhm.
have that employee
Were you
there.
getting paid at this time? Were they paying you?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
Absolutely
good.
not. It is your duty, it's your responsibility. Make sure you get to work. You come home from
Uh-huh.
school, do your
You
homework,
have a
and get to
roof over
work.
your head. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it.
So that's the mindset. And I think also
But you did
as
get paid. And think about it.
I did get paid.
Think
The lessons learned,
think now.
it is ingrained in me right now. The contrib the weight, the pressure of contribution still weighs heavy on me. And thank goodness that was instilled in me at an early age. Hey, you're part of this family, you got to contribute. And that, as I've gotten older, that expands. Hey, you're part of this team, you
Mm,
better contribute. Hey, you're part of this company, you better contribute. Hey, you're part of this city, you're the state,
I love it.
this country, you better contribute. And the contribution is what just pours out of me. And it's like, I'm always looking, where can I contribute? Where can I contribute? Where can I add value? And it starts when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I'm working there making empanadas. That was my first thing
That's
that I can
great.
remember. I was making empanadas, wrapping them up and closing them and putting them in the deep fryer, making empanadas. And I went through the process in the restaurant from empanadas to the cash register, really good with math and returning money and handling money. And then when I got a little bit older, I was a delivery boy, right? And I was a delivery boy in a not so great area. I'm not talking trash about where I
Mhm.
grew up. I love where I grew up.
Yeah.
But Jackson Heights just was not recognized as a good area, especially the block that I grew up on. The block that I grew
Mhm.
up on, and being the delivery boy, everybody knew me and I knew everybody, and I was able to tell like, hey, Christian, you live on 3525, apartment 3C 4D, whatever it
Yeah.
was, and I would go deliver food, and everybody knew me. It was like, oh, that's Charo's son, or El Hijo
Wow.
de Charo,
Mhm.
Spanish. And people started getting to know me more and more, and they used to see the hard work that I was putting in. And I was a delivery boy, and my first job where I felt like I was independent and I had the entrepreneurial spirit was when we went to the supermarket, got a shopping cart, and we built the stuff around it and got a big block of ice, and I was selling ices, jujum, frio frio,
I was gonna say.
I'm in business for myself, even though it was fully funded by my dad, and everything that I needed to those supplies were
Mhm.
also funded by my dad. He never saw a profit. I did. It was like I had no cost. The expense was labor,
That's
but
great.
I was already out in front of the restaurant and just selling my frio frio, selling my jujus, and it was a good time. That's my first real job.
So how'd you leave that, working? Because obviously I know your family, right? You're a beautiful family. How do you say, hey, mom and dad, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna do something else?
So as I was fortunate enough to go to school. I went to Queensboro in Bayside, and then from there I went to Baruch. So I've always had the business mindset. I knew I wanted to study business, although what I really enjoy is history. So I used to do history and business when I was my college years, and I've always wanted to do more. And I remember from an early age that it's like I I want to be in a suit. Suit equals success.
Hmm.
Suit equals you're a business person. And when I'm working at the restaurant and I'm asking over and over again, these people that keep coming in, different people wearing suits, and I'm like, hey, let me ask you a question. Where do you work? And they would say, oh, I'm in real estate. And somebody would come over and say, hey, where do you work? Oh, I'm in real estate. Hey, somebody else come over. Hey, what do you do? Oh, I'm in real estate. So I figured, because I'm naive, I'm in a bubble. In order for me to be successful, I need to wear a suit. In order for me to wear a suit, I need to work in real estate. So at 18, I went and got my real estate license.
Oh wow.
And I was a real estate agent, and then I got certified to be able to do mortgages. And as I was still in school, I got approached by somebody, hey, do you want to sell knives? And I ended up selling knives. So I was doing all three at the same time.
So tell me about the selling knives because I love that. I love the selling knives. Tell me the selling knives story. What was
So
that? What was that
I
like?
was selling knives, Cutco. They were Cutco knives. For those that are familiar with Cutco, you already know where I'm going with this. But I had never sold knives in my life, you know. And when you in your head you say, "Hey, a set of knives," okay, you think $20, $30, $50, $100. You could go on Amazon, buy something, get it next day, $199, and you get a nice set. So the cheapest set of knives that I was selling were $895, and it went up from there. And thank goodness that I was selling knives. Thank goodness that I met that company. There was no door to door sales. And you started off by selling the people that were closest to you. So my first pitch was to my parents. Now imagine Dominican immigrant parents that were not well off. And I go and I pitch to them a set of knives, which is probably like an eight-piece set. And I say, yeah, it's $895. And they're like, ¿Qué? What? Are you kidding me? And they're like, Jason, I'm worried. Like, what are you doing? Is this
Exactly.
what you're gonna do?
Mhm.
Who's gonna buy that? Nobody's gonna buy that. And I was like, what are you talking about? You're gonna buy it. I was like, this is my first pitch. This is my first sale. This is my first job. Like, don't you want to see me succeed? And I gave them that close.
Hmm.
And they're like, of course. I was like, well, we have a payment option. You could do these in 6 easy installments. And they bought knives. It's been let me see, I'm about to turn 42. I was
If you
like
tell me they
17,
still
18.
have those knives,
So it's just 24, 26 years ago,
Mhm.
they still use those knives.
That's amazing.
20 some odd years later, best
We need to have like a
set of
promo
knives.
code.
I know, right?
Sponsor
Click the link below to buy the
Yes.
set of Cutco knives. No, it was so. Going back to what was amazing, the lesson that I learned there is I started off with my parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I made that sale, and then at the end, it's like, hey, I need some referrals. And they're like, what are you talking about? You know everybody we know. I was like, I understand. I just need a couple referrals. This is what they told me. I followed their process. They told me pitch your parents. A lot of people would have said, no, I'm not going to pitch my parents. I pitched my parents and I took it serious.
Mm-hmm.
And then I asked them at the end, hey, I need some referrals. Who are 10 people that you think would be interested in what I have to offer so I could pay my way through college? And they gave me a list of 10 names. All 10 of them I knew. They were my aunts and uncles. So then I go to my aunts and uncles and I pitch every single one of them. My closing ratio went down a little bit. I wasn't batting 1,000. So my closing ratio went down, but I pitched them. I sold some. And at the end, I asked for referrals. And I asked for referrals, and I knew 70% of the people that they recommended because they were cousins
Sure.
or nieces and nephews. And I went to go visit them. By the fourth degree of separation, I didn't know anyone. Everybody that was recommended to me by the third a referral, I had never met. They were meeting me for the first time. And I was still selling them knives because they said, no, it's el hijo de Charo.
Mm-hmm.
You should do this or you should do that. I bought a set. You should buy one too. Right. And I learned the referral game. I learned the referral business. So when as I was growing up in business, I realized the importance of that referral business. And I've kept it till today. You know, anybody, as soon as I do a transaction, immediately I say, who do you know that may be interested in what I'm selling? I happen to be selling Hondas. So who do you know that's looking to get a Honda? Hey, let me ask you a question. When you took the car home, who were those first couple people that you called?
Absolutely.
Do you think they'd be interested in a Honda as well? Maybe another brand?
So
I
many
can help
people
them as
are
well.
afraid to ask for referrals nowadays. For some reason, it seems like they feel like they're going to be bothering the person. I always say, listen, if you do the job right, the business will come. But you have to take the initiative and say and be able to say, by the way, who else in your family would benefit from?
Well, I think what you said there is key. If you do the job right.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of people right now that just don't rise to the occasion and do the job right. It wasn't until I started implementing the referrals and actually realizing, wow, I'm 4 degrees, 5 degrees of separation. And I'm going into every single person and saying, hey, I know you didn't buy from me because you're not going to sell 100% of the people. But do you know somebody that may be interested?
Mm.
You know, I have your friend, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, whoever it is that purchased knives from me. You trust me. We created that like affair. And do you know anybody that may be interested in a set of knives? Do you know anybody that may be interested in just maybe helping somebody get through college? And that was my pitch. And unfortunately, nowadays there's a lot of people that don't feel like they do a good enough job to have that moral authority of being able to ask. Right? If you don't ask,
Why do you think that is? Why do you think people don't feel confident when it comes to sales to be able to do that? Because I agree with you 100%.
So there's a couple of things, right? And there's multiple avenues, and depends on that person of why they don't do it, right? It maybe it's because of competence, right? Competence breeds confidence, right? And if you don't have the confidence in the product, you don't have the confidence in sales, you don't have the confidence in how to hold a transaction, you start feeling a little nervous, a little, rushed. Let's
Mhm.
just get this deal done. Let's just finalize this transaction and move on to the next one. So that lack of confidence, customers, they sense that.
100%.
They sense that lack of confidence that you have in yourself and that you have in the deal. So I know people that sell a car and they're surprised that they sold a car.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I meet someone and then the expectation is we're going to do a deal.
Well, this is what we talk about in our training, is that confidence closes deals. And if someone came in and I make the analogy, if you went to the hospital, right? God forbid, right? Something's wrong, you do some tests, and then the doctor comes out, he goes, so all right, we're gonna try.
Spit it
Yeah,
out. Oh
yeah.
my God.
And I'm hoping that, and maybe if, and
I was wondering
I'm
if
gonna try. I'm gonna talk to some other people and see what they. I'm dead. Like in
yeah.
my mind, I'm like, that's it.
That lack of confidence
How many
takes
hours
away
do I have?
it takes away the credibility
Now,
immediately.
on the contrary, God forbid, again, something happens. Doctor comes in, closes the door, sits down, he goes, "Good news. We're gonna hit this head on. Okay, we're gonna be aggressive. We're gonna do this, and that. I'm gonna make sure that you'll be 100%." How do I feel? I'm like, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get through this. Like
Mm-hmm.
whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is,
Mm-hmm. You're on
I
board.
feel confident that person, and that I'm dealing with the right person. And unfortunately, salespeople, me personally, I think it's because of a lack of training. I knew when I started out, I went through so many trainings, and then I did the ongoing training and the personal development myself, right? Because I had leaders, I don't call them managers, had leaders in my life and at the stores that I worked at that I saw reading books. I had a Fred Smallwood, who was my manager, who he'd constantly be reading. And he'd be like, "Hey, come buy this book." And I'd be, "Hey, do me a favor, pick it up for me. I'll give you the
That's
money when I
excellent.
see you." And he'd be like, "No, walk over here and take the money out of your pocket and you buy it. Because if I buy it for you, you're never going to read it." So
Invest in yourself.
100%. And I mean, at 21, 22, 23 years old, I was reading books. I never read books in high school. I never read any books of substance until I got into the car industry.
That's amazing. And following up on that's a huge reason why people don't ask for the sale, ask for referrals, follow up to see if everything's okay, is because they have that lack of confidence in themselves, which ultimately is lack of confidence, meaning that they haven't done enough training. And something that also that I've witnessed is the lack of belief. People don't believe in themselves enough. Part of the majority of my job is just selling everyone on staff. Hey, you can do it. Maybe nobody's ever told you, but you've got everything you need inside yourself already. Maybe their teachers didn't say enough. Maybe their parents didn't say
Mhm.
enough. Definitely their friends and influence or circle, they don't encourage. It's not cool. It's not popular,
100%.
right? I like hanging out with people. I want to hang out in groups where we're empowering one another. And when you say, "Hey, I want to start a podcast. Hey, I want to start a training company. Hey, I want to move over and I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to move into these avenues." And I'm like, man, that's amazing. I think you should do that.
I remember when you told me that, when you were toiling with the decision that you had to make when going back to Honda and coming here, and I said, "Jason, if you were selling oranges on the side of the highway, you'd be successful. It's not the dealership. It's not the people who are bringing you on board. It's not Honda. It's not the car industry. It's you.
Yeah.
It's the things that your parents instilled in you from in that restaurant, to you having that ambition and that inspiration to say, "Hey, I want a little bit more." And then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then starting to see the fruits of your labor start to grow, and say, "Hey, wait a minute. What's possible if I do this?" I have that fatal flaw that I see more potential in people than they see in themselves.
100%. I suffer from that as well, and I was diagnosed a really long time ago with the Cinderella syndrome. The Cinderella syndrome, in short, is something. Well, it's something that's made up. It's not like a real technical term. I don't have a syndrome. It's a Cinderella syndrome where you want to take everybody. In my case, you want to take everybody from the hood because I grew up in my
Hmm.
version of the hood. You want to take everybody out the hood and make them successful business people, or you want to take people that are, if you classify them as A's, B's, C's, and D's.
Hmm.
You want to start off with the D's, and hopefully one day you'll make them an A. And it wasn't until further in my career until I learned, bumping heads with all these D's. They never. It's very unlikely for them to become an A.
100%.
Why would you
You,
start yourself all the way back there?
you'll never
Why don't you
turn a
start
2
with a
into a 10.
why don't you
Hmm.
start with a C or a B
Hmm.
and hopefully make them an A and surround yourself with a team of A's.
Absolutely.
And that's part of, not only building a team, but instilling that confidence in people and selling them on you can do it. And I try to live my life now and for a long time with, if I can do it, you can do
And
it.
that's something I see in your stores, right? When you were down the street at Paragon Honda and I was running the Mercedes Benz store up the street, um, I saw the team that you had. And I think one of the most impactful things that you brought to the table um, was the ability for people to see themselves in you and say, "Wow, if he can do it, I can do it." And that's huge. So I want to go into, all right. So you were at the restaurant, you sold knives. How did you end up at a Honda dealership? How'd that happen?
So winter time, and I'm selling knives. I have 4 appointments set up. There's about 2 feet of snow outside. I don't own a car. I can't afford a car. So I pay taxis. Not Uber.
No.
This is 20
This
some
is
odd years
this is
ago.
you call
Get on
somebody
the
to pick you
phone.
up at your
Like,
house.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm at the corner of this and
Uh-huh.
this. Can you pick me up? Right. I'm standing inside of the bodega until you get here. Let me know what color the car is.
Mhm.
Like that. And I had 4 appointments set up. It was after school. I used to go to school. My classes started 7 o'clock in the morning until 1 p.m. and then work the rest of the day. So I had my appointment set up after that. So I would go to school with a briefcase full of knives. There was knives on one side,
No metal detectors.
books on the other side.
Mhm.
And I would get out of school and go to my appointments. And I had 4 appointments lined up that day. And I sat, and this is in a kitchen table, very intimate setting where I'm doing a demonstration and I'm showing and building value. And I build all this value, and I'm like, man, I got this. No. And I go to my second appointment and I go and I do and I cut a penny with a scissor and I cut the leather with the knife. And I'm like, isn't this amazing? No. And then I get another presentation on the third one, third strike. And I go to a fourth one, right? And the fourth one forgot that they had an appointment. It's already late at night. They forgot they had an appointment. So they bring me in while they have company over. And I'm sitting at the kitchen table doing a demonstration, not even paying attention. All right, thank you. All right, thanks. Appreciate. They didn't even know I was selling.
Hmm.
Say thank. Oh, you're just working on your presentation. Great, thanks. No problem. Have a nice day. I just walked out of there and I said, I'm not doing this anymore. And I stopped that.
Hmm.
And I was sitting with a couple friends, and they recommended me and say, hey, listen, why don't you go to this dealership? I know that they're looking for salespeople. It's a great spot. I'm the first person in my family that's ever walked into a dealership. My father's never bought a car from a dealership.
Hmm.
My mom has never bought a car from a dealership. None of my siblings ever bought a car from a dealership. So I'm walking to a dealership. This is my first time in my life walking into a car dealership. And I'm going there to apply for a job. I go apply for the job. This is Paragon Honda back in 2004. And I sit there, I go through the process, and I'm in a suit because I've been working in a suit because that's what success is. Meanwhile, there's no money associated with it so far.
Mhm.
Where's the money? I'm successful. Where's the money? I'm wearing a suit, but nobody knows that the suit is from a thrift shop where I got a $4 blazer and $3 pants and a $2 tie.
Hmm.
And I'm walking in looking for a job. Oh man, I'm successful. I do this, I do this, I do this, I do that. Build up your resume. I'm 20 years young, and I'm talking about all the stuff that I've already done. And I'm 20 years old, and they say we'll give you a shot, and they bring me in, and I started. I remember like it was yesterday. I started in early March, and April 1st they put me on the floor.
Hmm.
It was like an April Fool's joke, I guess. And I started selling cars, and lo and behold, first couple months, I'm selling 20, 25 cars,
Wow.
25 plus cars because this was easy to me. So I'm asking, well, I don't know how this works. I've never been in a dealership in my life. Can you explain this to me? Because I'm used to real estate, I'm used to mortgages, I'm used to selling knives, I'm used to life insurance, health insurance. I was sold all that stuff too. And I'm like, so how does this work? So normally I'm used to going out and getting my clients. Right. I go out and I'll pitch people and I'll ask who's interested in selling their home or buying a home. Right. Who's interested in this and this and that. Hey, can I get some referrals and go visit, set up appointments? And they're like, no, no, no. They just come in. We have appointments set up for the day and they come in. And I'm like, what? I don't have to go. What? I don't have to do that? No, they just come in. All right, great. So where do I source whatever it is that I'm selling? So if they want to buy a Honda Accord, where do I gotta go to go buy it and sell it? I'm naive, I'm young. I was like, where do I gotta go to be able to get this car? No, 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 no. It's in stock, it's in inventory. We have an inventory, it has this many cars. Look, we just look on this sheet and you whatever they want, you put them on this car and you have a nice day. I'm like, what?
Hmm.
That's amazing. So I don't have to go out and get clients and I don't have to go out and buy the product and it's already there. I was okay. Well, so what do I do for advertising? Do I go to like a mall? Do I go out and give out flyers? Do I what do I do for marketing? No, no, no. Marketing's taken care of. Marketing's taken care of for you, right? There's a budget. They advertise at that time in the newspapers, right?
Hmm.
In the newspapers, magazines, and radio, TV, and we do all that stuff. And people just come in. I was like, wow, marketing's handled for me. Leads or people coming into the door or traffic is handled for me, and the inventory is right there. I was like, I don't have to go outside and get my shoes wet in the snow with in my socks, going from appointment to appointment in a taxi.
So let me ask you this. So now you're a salesperson at Paragon and you're doing well. What would you say was some of the things that impacted your success? Because obviously you didn't know anything about selling cars. You knew about sales and customer service and referrals, but selling cars is totally different. How'd you get good at selling cars?
Well, I think that's a two-part question with a two-part answer. Number one, what got me hooked on it was obviously I started selling a bunch of cars, and you don't necessarily, for those of you guys in the car business, you don't get paid right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get that one check where all these deals miraculously get funded, and the accounting department says, let's pay him. And I got a real fat check. For me, at that time, I'm 20, no bills. I live with my parents. And I got a real nice check, and I said, what? This is for me? This is my check? They're like, yeah. Hooked. Hooked. So then I took the business, immediately I took the business serious. And I started learning. Some of the people that I learned, you gotta understand, I'm still in school. I'm 20 years old, but I'm still in school. I didn't give up on college. I'm still in college.
What
I'm
were you
working.
studying in college?
So I was studying, at this time I'm already in Baruch. So I'm studying a major in business. It was a double major in business and history with an intensive focus in business, right? So the history lessons were the creation of the railroad, what happened to all these oil companies, and industrial revolution, all that stuff, which is great because that's what I like learning from the past. And I'm in the car business, and somebody hands me a book, and I just add it to the queue
Hmm.
of stuff that needs to
What was
get.
that book?
So it was a Joe Verdi book. It was How to Sell X Amount of Cars or whatever it was, or Daily Habits. That was passed along to me by my mentor, still to today, Brian Benstock. And, because he sees somebody successful and he still got that till today. And he sees somebody that's trying. He has a real connection with salespeople. And he sees a salesperson that has the stuff that you can't teach,
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that is natural, and then you sprinkle some skill sets, you sprinkle a little bit of knowledge, you sprinkle some lessons and some real like structured training, right? And that person could do wonders. And unfortunately, in our business, I've seen a lot of people with that stuff that they have it.
Mm-hmm.
They have it. What I can't describe it. I can't describe when somebody comes up to you with a great vibe, great energy, a little bit higher than normal tone of voice, and they
Hmm.
come up to you and they say hi with a big smile and they make eye contact and it's natural. Versus somebody who's like, robotic, and you try and teach them like, hey, when you make sure you make eye contact with somebody and they make it their business to go,
Yeah.
they make eye contact and shake their hands, and it's not the same.
Do the eye contact.
Huh?
Do the eye
Yeah,
contact.
the eye contact where you're like, hey, how you doing? And I'm shaking your hand and I'm gonna sell you a car. That is, you can't teach those certain things. But when you take somebody that has that natural and then you layer on training, structured training, to me, that's what really, really helped me out.
What's the first thing? I asked this question because I have an answer, but I always love to pick your brain. What's the most important skill set you think a salesperson needs to have in automotive to be successful?
That's a
The most important.
great.
The most important.
That is a great question, and I'm gonna have you follow up on this afterwards. But whenever I'm doing training, because I love doing training, it is an absolute passion for me. I love it. I feel like it's the most rewarding for me as
Oh,
a
absolutely.
person. I feel super rewarded when I can take somebody and show them a couple skill sets and with the words that they have in their brain, be able to generate income. I think that's fantastic. So for me, the most important skill set, and it is a skill set, is mindset. Is a person's mindset in the moment. You come into work, the first step of the sale, or if you have a daily dozen, if you have a week daily, this is the stuff that you got to do and you got to complete every single day. At the top of that list is make sure you're mentally and then physically prepared to do business. Right? Don't come into work if you're not mentally prepared to do business. If you got all the stuff that's in the past and you got all the stuff that's going on in your life and other avenues of your life that are affecting you, you're going to transmit that to the customers. Whatever problems you got going on, trust me, you have problems and so do we.
100%.
It doesn't matter.
Me and my little guy talk about that all the time. Where if somebody put their problems on the table and you put your problems on the table, after seeing their problems, you'll grab your problems real quick.
Yeah. And it's like, and it's a skill set. When I say it's a skill set, it's because you got to learn that. When I was early on, I didn't have that mindset yet. I didn't have that until I got introduced to some of my coaches and mentors, right? I learned the car business through a couple people, really a couple people. It was Brian Benstock, Jackie B. Cooper, Joe Verdi, and Grant Cardone. That's it. That's where I learned the car business. That's the school that I come from.
Sure.
Right? But your life is not all car business. You're not going to be a well-rounded person. All you're going to be is a car guy.
Yep.
Right? So I was very interested in being a well-rounded person. And for me, the people that actually really impacted my life in personal growth are people like Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Wayne Dyer, John Maxwell. Leadership, like learning all these, Brian Tracy, Eric Thomas. And it's like you have all these people that teach you nothing about the car business, everything about you. In a Jim Rohn-ism is work harder on yourself than you do on your job. I believe that till today.
It's amazing. Ariel Munoz was on our podcast and he actually mentioned that exact quote. So it
Do you have any idea how proud that makes me feel?
Oh, he told
That
about
makes me feel. That makes me feel amazing.
when you see the podcast, you'll see how he talked about how he got started in the business, and he credits you and his success.
Man, I tried to recruit that guy for like 2 years. He just kept saying no. I'm like, hey, guy, Ariel, things are going well. You should come with me. Ariel, let's rock and roll. Come on. But the thing is how we're seen in the car business.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
The perception, the smudge of
The stigma.
The stigma of like, what are you gonna do after that? Like, okay, you're gonna go sell cars. What's the plan?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do after that? No. I'm gonna sell cars. And oh no, I went to college. I got a degree. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna go sell cars. I think he's done pretty well for himself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Selling cars. So for me, it's a proud moment when I hear that. We resonate. Because we
100%. It's a culture.
We spend a lot of time together.
I definitely want to talk about that's something that you guys at that store with Brian, yourself, and the other leaders that you have in your organization do a great job of is building a culture. I'll tell you what I think. So, and I agree with you 100%. All those things are crucial to success. what I found, and after like really kind of when we built out our training program, I kind of had to like really deep dive and be like, what made me successful? Like, what was that? What I feel was my signature to my success, and that's that I truly cared about helping the customer achieve their goals. I really took it personal. Like I really, if I saw a customer in a car in my neighborhood and they had the license plate frame from another dealership, I'm like,
Take it
why didn't they
personal.
come to
Why
me?
didn't you come to see me?
Like, why didn't they? Like, I could help them. Like, I want to help them. I'm that person that,
You take pride.
Oh, if I'm driving down the street, my wife will tell you, and there's a car flipped over, I'm getting out of the car. I want to rip that door. I want to pull the person. I truly care about people. I really, really do. And that was my key to my success. And it took me a long time to realize it. And sometimes I cared a little bit too much.
Yep.
So my manager once told me, he goes, yeah, it's great, but you got to make the sale.
Right.
Okay, like you don't.
You want to become
paid.
their friend. You want to become their friends.
Yeah.
Like we're here to do transactions.
That
We're
was
running
it.
a business.
So early on, I that's what I did. As I cared, I listened, and I was like, yeah, and I educated, and I showed them the car, and I sold the car. Like they wanted the car. They wanted it, and then they said, "I got to go think about it." And I go, "Okay, no problem. I'm here for you whenever you're ready." And then
the managers ask you, "Hey, what's going on with that
Oh, they're
customer?"
great.
They're
They
great.
love
They're gonna
me.
come.
They love me.
They're gonna come back and they're gonna see me. They're gonna
This
call
was
me
early on.
They will.
They're
not
gonna
make
send
a
me their
decision.
friends.
Yeah, they're not gonna make a decision.
Oh,
without me.
100%. And then
That was me.
I would call.
I lived through
I would
that.
call and get a voicemail. Hey, it's Christian. Just wanted to touch base and see how things are going. I'm here for you when you're ready. And voicemail and no return phone call. And then no return phone call. And then finally one day, I would block my number and I'd call up and I'd say, and they pick up, hello, and I'm like, hey, it's Christian. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, you were great, but we went. One of our friends said to go to this dealership, and we went there, and they just had the car, and the price was really, and we just bought the car there. But you were great. I'm still gonna send you people. And I was like,
So I got a story that's very similar to that. I too was young and I guess naive, and at
one
my
sec.
core,
Hold it.
Go ahead.
I want to stress for the people who are watching this, who are new in sales, how important it is to understand that I sucked at sales. In the beginning, I was terrible. All right. I wasn't I wasn't this guy who, has this training company and I had all the answers. I learned from my mistakes. So be aware that in the beginning, it is going to be its ups and downs. It's going to have that. Not every month is going to be great. So don't feel like it's over or maybe this is not for me. You push through it and you learn. You know how you get good at doing pull-ups? Pull-ups. Like, you know how you get good at doing pull-ups?
I've done a couple pull-ups.
Do you know how you get good at it?
How do
You
you
do
get good at
pull-ups.
Yeah.
You do pull-ups.
And then you rest.
That's it. Even it's sometimes you just gotta hang there
You got to do it.
and hang there and hang there and hang, and you start developing muscles and that muscle memory. And all of a sudden, you're doing a pull-up and you're doing another pull-up and you're doing another pull-up. And that's how you sell cars. You try, you put in effort, you fail, and then you try again.
Yep.
And you don't let it stop you. I have this incredible ability to let things roll off my back. I love dealing with irate customers. It doesn't bother me.
Oh, those are my favorite.
It doesn't bother me. To me, I want to turn their experience around. When they leave and they're like, man, you were amazing. Guess what? First of all, they're never going to buy from anybody else because nobody else wants to deal with them. So I have that relationship. So to me, I want people to understand that it takes time. So be a little patient. Give yourself some grace. All right. And you will get good at it. So I'm sorry to interrupt you because that to me is important. A lot of people don't understand that. So you were saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I got a story that's very similar to that. When I was young in the business, it was my, I'm still selling cars. I'm 20 years old and I'm in college, and I go into my my next semester, and in that semester, I'm taking a course, and the name of the course is business ethics, and I'm in the car business, and my professor somehow convinces me that what I'm doing is wrong, and so I quit, and I quit for 3 months until I had my next professor. And it was business ethics too. And that's the power of a professor, of an educator, of a trainer, of a mentor, of a coach, etc. And I told him about my experience because I'm no longer in the car business. And I was doing this, and I was like, oh no, that's fantastic. That's great. And I was like, no, but we're selling a car and it's not the same exact price for every single person that comes to buy a car. A Civic is a Civic. So why are they selling for different prices? And he goes like, what's the price for the Mona Lisa? For a painting? What's the price for a painting? I said, I don't know. I have no idea. He said the price is whatever anybody's willing to pay. And I said, that's a great perspective. And he goes like, well, how were you doing? Were you serving them? Were you taking care of them? I was like, absolutely. That's all I learned how to do is serve. I think I serve too much. I used to talk people out of deals because I would educate them too much. And it's like, all we do is just educate, 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 educate. No, did you know you could do this? Did you know you could that? Did you know this? The customer wants a car.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned. The customer came into the dealership because they want to buy a car. How do I know that? Because they're there. The customer came in to buy a Honda.
So we don't sell shoes.
How do I know that? Because they're there. If they were looking for a basketball, they'd be at Dick's Sporting Goods. You know, if they're looking for something else, they'd be at a different store. They're at a Honda dealership or a whatever brand dealership because they're looking for a specific car that you have in inventory, and they know that. And so that conviction, that understanding that, hey, they're here to buy a car, and I'm here to provide the best quality service and make the experience as memorable as possible while condensing the transaction time. Man, that's when things started skyrocketing for me.
So how did you get into management?
Oh, that's a funny story a lot of people don't know about. That is a funny story. So I'm doing okay, I guess. And
Let me ask you this before we go there. Do you remember what you made your first year?
my first year, I made probably $150,000 at 20 years old, no bills, no nothing at all. I had months that I probably made like 18, 19 grand in 1 month, another month, 7 or 8, depending on how the deals fall out. That was, to me, mind blowing.
I remember my brother when he first got into the car business, and he's someone we're going to have on this also. And he went to go work at Acura when MDX first came out. And he's an awesome individual. I'm looking forward to having him on here. But I think the first month when MDX just came out and they were going for ridiculous numbers, I think he made it was like $16,000 his first month. And he was like,
What
it's like, are you kidding me?
I was mind blown. I was mind blown. I vividly remember, and I had very little. I didn't have a car yet. I'm in the car business. I didn't own a car, and I bought myself I went out and went crazy. Bought myself a 2001 Honda Prelude that I paid $160 a month for, and I was nervous. I was the first person to take out a car loan in my family. So I was like, what? Oh my God. And everybody looked at me like, what are you doing?
So tell me, how do you get into how do you end up in management? How do you get to management?
So I end up in so there's a saying that I tell people all the time, act and work for the job you want, or be the person that deserves that next position. And my story doesn't start with the car business, obviously. It starts with my parents, and it becomes with the stuff that I was instilled with. So, my parents owning a restaurant and you being the son of the owner, that you're one of the employees, you do everything. Everything. One day you're the cook, one day you're the delivery guy, one day you're the cashier, one day you do all of them. Right? It depends. You do whatever needs to get done. So at the dealership, I don't know no difference.
Yeah.
I've never worked anywhere else. To me, I go there and I'm taking care of everything. Garbage needs to be taken out, I'm taking it out. Why is the 20-year-old kid taking out the garbage? I see something out front that's wrong. I go around, I fix the chairs. I know that customers need to be sitting. I see someone standing up. I go and I run and I'll grab a chair and I put it next to somebody, and so on and so forth. And I was already in the business.
Not realizing that you're actually, and it's crazy because most managers don't do those things, but you're acting.
They really don't.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you're acting as if. And this is what I talk about a lot, is act as if. I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, I'm thinking about, I want to get into, and I'm trying to figure out how I can. I said, do the job, even though you don't have it. Act as if you already have
it.
the
Yes.
job.
Act as if you already have it. So I didn't know how else to act. So I acted like I owned the place. And, they were doing a recruiting session. Or they needed to get some salespeople.
Yeah, absolutely.
and they put out there, hey, anybody who gets some salespeople, oh yeah, yeah. And I took that seriously because that's what I'm being told to do. So I went out and I recruited three people. I said, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing great. I absolutely love it. That conviction, and I was able to get a couple of people to come and join the team, and they saw that I was the only one who did that. And then a few months later, I broke into management. I was a salesperson for like 10 months. All right, 10 months, and then this is at the time when The Apprentice was out.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, touchy. So it was when The Apprentice was out, and Brian decided to have an apprentice style hiring process or promotion process, and we had 6 candidates, went down to 4 candidates, and we did our part and rounds of interviews from all the higher ups in the organization, drilling you and asking you questions. And what would you do with this? What would you do with that? What would you do with this? And, I knew all the word tracks. I knew all the steps of the sale. I knew everything because I studied it like it was homework for me. And I went out and went through that process, and it was down to 2. And then they selected me and said, we're going to give you the opportunity. And I broke into management, which it wasn't, for me, it was management. It was called a team leader position. It was a new position. And it was a position I was very excited about because I've always seen myself as a leader. Any party, any gathering, any school event, any classwork event, I'm the captain of the team. I'm the leader. I'm this. I'm that. I want to be that guy. I don't feel the pressure. I don't feel the heat. I like the spotlight. Put it on me. I'll take care of it. No problem. I'll address it. And I was given a team. I didn't get to select my team. You know how that goes. You're the rookie. You're captain. You're not the captain.
I love that.
You're the new person. Mm-hmm. So the other 2 team leaders selected their teams, and whatever was left over was me. So I had several individuals, 3, 4, 5 individuals that I got the opportunity to work with. And think about this. I'm 20 years old. And the next youngest person on my team is probably like 38, 36, 35.
Similar story. We never talked about this, but when I became a sales manager, I was the youngest person on the showroom floor. And
I was the youngest person on the showroom floor as a salesperson, and then as a sales manager.
Yep.
As a sales manager, there was no salesperson or anybody younger than me. I was the youngest person in the store.
Yep.
Which
one
was
of the questions, John Teta, who's huge to my success in the automotive industry, when he saw the potential that I had, and same thing, I was acting as if I was already in the role. He asked me the question. He's like, how are you going to get these guys who are 50, 60 years old and have been in the car business for 20, 30 years? He's like, how are you going to get them to follow you? How are you going to get them to trust you? And I said, I have to earn it. I have to show them I know what I'm doing. I have to treat them with respect. I have to be courteous, professional, never make them look bad, right? And that's how I moved into that role, and I was fortunate. So yeah, that's great. So now you're leading a team.
It gives you a different level of difficulty, though, right?
Oh, 100%.
And for me to answer similar to you, how was I going to get these people to follow? How was I going to get these people to listen to me, right? These are grown people that have been in the business much longer than I have.
Yeah.
But
they almost want to see you fail.
Yeah. Yes. And they want to see what you got.
Yeah.
Show me. What do you got? And I was able, my style of conversing with people, genuine. This is where I learned the importance of your personal story. And I don't sell based on whatever car it is. I sell based on who I am. I create a relationship, and then I sell my friends a car. Right? We become friends, and then I sell them a car.
I say it all the time. Make a friend first, sell a car second.
Make a friend first, sell a car second. And it's the same thing for those leaders that are trying to break into leadership. That they feel because they got the badge or they got the MGR at the end of their name, that now they got this authority over people. Absolutely not. Not for me, at least. Right? For me, it was like, what can I do for you?
Absolutely. You work for them.
How can I help you? Hey, listen, can you teach me some of the stuff that helped you get this far? And then I'll take what worked for me was I would take something that you would tell me, and I would train another person on the team, sort of paying homage to what you said, right? And some of the stuff that I already knew cold, like I'm good with memorizing word tracks and memorizing all the stuff, and I would spit those out. And they're like, "Oh, this kid really knows what he's talking about." And then I would train, "Hey, let's try this to be able to learn it. Let's try that." And more importantly, I was there. You know what a TO is. You know, transfer of opportunity. You know, regardless of how long you've been in the business, everybody needs a TO. And some people that have been in the business 20, 25 years, sometimes they need a TO and they're used to their manager not being there. But I took it to heart and I watched over my 4 or 5 people. And every time I felt like they were struggling or they needed something, I would step in and say, "Hey, how you doing? I'm one of the new managers on dude. I just wanted to come over and say hi, see how everything's going with the transactions. Is everything okay?" Yeah. Hey,
Is you're not meeting the customer at the end when they're about to leave, and your salesperson's like, "Can you say goodbye to my customer?" And you're like,
it was my favorite part of the job.
"Oh,
And coming from a restaurant, you got to go over every once in a while and say, 100%. How's the food? Is everything okay? And start selling. You want another soda? You want another this? You want another that? You want to add a side of this? You want to add a side of that?
Absolutely."
And so that's how I learned that part of the game. And I started doing that, and people really appreciated that because nobody was doing that prior. So for me, I sort of got that moral authority.
What was the toughest part of that, of being a manager? Tell me about an experience that maybe you had to fire somebody, you had to let somebody go, or you had to write somebody up that, maybe they didn't agree with you. Tell me, is there anything that sticks out to you?
So the difficult part was not necessarily with other people. The difficult part was within myself. The difficult part was me convincing myself that I've got what it takes. I was nervous. I was insecure. I wasn't confident that I could lead people or that I can manage a team. So therefore, my defense mechanism was workshops, seminars, trainings, and going through all these resources to literally overload myself with, "Oh, no, I can't do it because I don't know enough. I got to get more. So then I devoted a lot of time to learning all of these techniques and learning all these things. And obviously you learn a lot of stuff that people haven't been exposed to and they're hearing it for the first time. I'm just repeating what I learned.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm copying somebody. I'm modeling after them and saying, "Hey, this is what I learned. Maybe it'll apply for you in your life."
So you're running a team within the dealership, and there's other managers there. Now from there your career accelerated, right?
Yes.
So I know you were doing stuff on the radio, you're doing a lot of the ads. Someone else mentioned this, and I think it's key to what made you successful. You actually lived in the area where your dealership was. And that's so important. It actually clicked for me when he said it, is how vital is that, knowing people in the community. How would you say being a part of the community impacted your success in the dealership?
Well, being part of the community is critical to me. I don't know how to separate the two. You can't run a business or operate or do business in a community that you don't know anything about or that you're not a part of. And from where I grew up to where the dealership was 2.2 miles. Right? So it was real close. You're talking about 40 blocks away. And I noticed that there was an opportunity in marketing in Spanish language, not necessarily marketing to Hispanics, because I'm Hispanic. And if you put out an ad in Spanish, I won't hear it because I consume zero information in Spanish. I don't listen to Spanish radio, Spanish TV, Spanish nothing. No Spanish ads. It's all in English, but I identify as Hispanic. But I felt like there was an opportunity to market to Spanish-speaking customers, right? And Brian, again, asked, "Hey, who wants to volunteer to do this and this and this?" I'm the guy in the front of the class with my hand up all the time. "I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. You need it to get done. I'll get it done. Me. Call on me. Whatever. They call it a teacher's pet. It's not cool. Whatever. It worked out for me.
Tremendously.
So they said, "Okay, who wants to go out and try out this?" And I went to the radio station. We recorded a 30-second spot. It was a 30-second commercial, and the rest is history. We went from having zero advertising in Spanish to then me being recognized as the voice and the face for Paragon Honda, Paragon Acura at the time.
That was huge.
It was tons of marketing.
That was huge.
People were
back
coming
then.
in surprised that I was there.
Yeah.
Because they confused the two. They thought I was a radio personality or a commercial, like a TV personality. And I walk in and it's like, "What are you doing here?"
What did your parents say? What did your parents say when they heard you on the radio?
Cars.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. All the pictures and all the pride.
Yeah.
the pride of my parents in the restaurant when a customer is sitting down, or there's a couple of people, restaurants jam packed, middle of the afternoon, and everybody's eating, and the TV goes on, and there comes on a commercial of their son, and he's like, "It's mi hijo, that's my son."
God
Man,
bless,
it's
man.
an incredible sense of pride. It's like, and I'm in a suit. I made it. I made it.
You're in
I'm
the suit.
successful.
I love it.
I'm in a suit.
That's it, man. I love it, man. So let's talk about how obviously you're doing tremendously in the dealership, but then you leave. And that's, I mean, listen, I remember trying to recruit people from Paragon and they wouldn't leave. Like I used to tell them, hey, we're closed on Sundays. We you know,
Yeah, we got a better schedule.
Yeah, we
got a
have
better
all
pay
these
plan.
things.
Got a better
You're
schedule,
selling
better pay
Mercedes
plan.
instead of Honda. All
We
these
take
things.
care of you.
and they
Champagne
wouldn't
comes out of the
leave.
water fountains. Everything's
Exactly.
amazing.
Yeah. And people wouldn't leave. So now you make a decision. What was like that? What was that like when you make a decision to then now
Boy, was
move
that
to
tough.
Florida?
Boy, was that tough.
Tell me about that.
So
First of all, what made you make
that's 14 years later from
Yep.
what we were just talking about. So I was there from 2003 to 2017. So that's 14 years that I was there, from salesperson to team leader to sales manager to desk manager to general sales manager to the honorary general manager, and working through building a team and making that store the number one Honda store in the world. Right? That's a lot of work. That's a lot of people coming in, coming out, a lot of community, a lot of culture building, a lot of one-on-ones, a lot of mentorship, a lot of friendships.
a lot of investment in you?
Correct.
So I give Brian a lot of credit, Brian Benstock a ton of credit, because that's one thing. I saw somebody posted something. I think he posted something saying how much. I think when he first started out, it was like $1,000. The average was $1,000 per car, the advertising budget, right? And then over time, it got to like $200 or $250 per car was averaging the advertising budget. And someone said, "Oh, I don't know if I could spend $1,000." I said, "But wait a minute. Brian Benstock spends so much money on training his people before he spends the money on advertising, and it's a constant, right?
I mean,
It's a
I am
constant.
an absolute testament to that. Because I've been in the business for this long, I've been able to experience that also on my end. But to your point where Brian invests in his people, everybody's heard it. But from the inside, if I could talk about it a little bit, about from the inside, he absolutely changed my life. He believed so much in me. He was actually, you know what? Not that he believed so much in me. He was probably the first person outside of my mom and dad that believed in me.
Wow.
And that belief in someone can be so powerful. It can be so life-changing, which is why I always try and encourage people. It's like, hey, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it too. Man, I love you. Man, I think you could do amazing things. Man, I think you're destined for greatness. I think you possess everything that you need for greatness, and telling people these things and the encouragement that comes along with that. And one of all the trainings and all the investments and all of the material that was given to me and that was provided to me so that I can learn and develop myself and become a better person, the one that stands out the most, Tony Robbins completely changed my life.
Me too.
I went to the first time I went to Tony Robbins, it was in New Jersey. And I went to Tony Robbins, and I was probably like 18, 19, 20 years old, whatever it was.
UPW?
UPW, Unleash the Power Within.
Did you walk on the coals?
Yes, I did. I walked on fire.
Amazing.
And I am a fire walker,
Me too.
certified.
So both of
I've
us.
walked on fire probably like 5 times now. And so that event changed my life, number one, because I learned how to hug. That's my biggest takeaway. It may not be everybody else's takeaway, but that was my biggest takeaway.
I'll tell you something. That event, I was always big into seminars and personal development, but that one changed my life. Two seminars that changed my life: E.T., Eric Thomas, and Tony Robbins. Absolutely transformational.
Yeah, we got that in common then. When I went to that Tony Robbins event, I mean, I grew up. My father's he was a police officer. He was in the military. He was born on a farm in the Dominican Republic, and it's more like tough love kind of thing. It's not like like huggy, lovey dovey. And then we're 5 siblings, and it's four boys, right? It's four boys and then one girl, my sister, the youngest one. So it's more, wrestling, fighting, more man stuff and aggressiveness. And it wasn't until I went to Tony Robbins and he would ask, okay, he would ask you to do a workshop or something to help unleash whatever it is that you were thinking. And at the end of that exercise, find the person that's right next to you, somebody that you don't know, and hug them.
Hug your neighbor.
Hug your neighbor.
That was what it was. High five your neighbor.
High five your neighbor, but no hug. And I hugged some people and they hugged me like I've never been hugged.
It was incredible. Absolutely.
So that moment changed my life. And I came back and I said, I felt terrible. I don't think I've ever hugged my father or my mother that way. So when I got home, I hugged my mom and I hugged my dad. And I think I shared this story with Brian. And I remember at that seminar, I wanted to, they sell you all the other seminars that are coming up. And I wanted to go do the max. I'm intense. I'm the type of person, I go in, I want it all. I want the max. So I was like, what's the max program that you got? And it was like, there's this max program that we have. It's called Business Mastery. And at that moment they were doing it. It's like an event. Like you go out and all out, 5, 6, 7 days. You're out in Fiji. You're in his resort, in Tony Robbins' resort in Amale. And you just immerse yourself in that experience. It's more private, more intimate. The New Jersey event, it was probably 10, 12,000 people.
Yep.
And then the one over there is 40, 50 people.
Wow.
Just to show the difference. And the law of attraction, being able to have that frequency and the vibration that I was operating at. A few months later, Brian comes to me and he pulls me into his office. He says, hey, Jason, come over here. And I go in there and he was like, hey, let me ask you a question. I think he knew. But he goes, let me ask you a question. You think you'd be interested in going to this event?
Wow.
I can't attend. I wanted to see if you wanted to go. I'm like, sure. I don't know what he's talking about, where it's at. I'm sure. No problem, boss. What you need? That's me. He goes like, it's a Tony Robbins Business Mastery event. And I got the shakes. I got all nervous. I was like, this can't be real. I was like, don't play with me. This is like a very expensive, to me at that moment, it's still expensive. It's like a $15,000, $20,000 event.
I want to say it was like 15 to 20 grand.
Yeah, it was like a $15,000, $20,000 event.
I know managers who won't spend $300 for a course.
People won't do training.
They won't spend
I'm a
training.
team leader. I'm not a general sales manager. I'm not an executive level management. I'm not in the inner circle of what's going on. I am a team leader. This is a million years ago. And he says, you want to go to that? And I said, oh my God. Like I literally I probably did cry at that moment because I don't think anybody, number one, has ever given me a gift of that value. Most expensive gift ever given to me. More expensive than anything that anybody had ever given to me. And this is my boss, my mentor, my coach, my leader who's giving me this gift. And I'm like, what? And then it's with Tony Robbins. And I was able to experience that at a very early age. I was in, my 20s, and I ended up going to Fiji, and I completed Business Mastery.
That's great.
And at the conclusion of Business Mastery, I'm the one that was selected as a case study to go back. Hey, what are you gonna do after you get out of here? And I did so much after I left that Business Mastery because, first of all, I got to prove to my boss it was a great investment. Where's the return on investment?
Sure.
And where's the return on time for me? Right? So I go back to the dealership and just absolutely blow things up.
Oh, it's great.
Things just start skyrocketing. And I wanted to make him proud. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for investing in me. Thank you for spending the time, and making the arrangements to make sure that there's coverage in the store while in my absence. Right? But at the end of the day, I come back and I'm like, wow.
Well, that's the key. And people don't understand that. When you invest in your people, you see them more than just, you see them as more than just a body on the showroom floor. When you really invest in them and you help develop them, one, they see the value in you, which most people don't realize, right? And I tell people all the time in our training, every time I have a training, there's always like I'll tell you a story about training, right? When we started the training company, I was so nervous, and you know the story.
Yep.
I left a career making well into the six figures. driving Mercedes Benzes. I had a demo, so free car, free Mercedes. I was living the life.
Comfy.
I was
That's
hanging out.
comfy. Sounds comfortable.
And from there to starting my training company in January of 2020, and I knew for years people had been telling me, "Hey, you should be a trainer. You should." And I'm like, I had these. How
But
do
what
I
am I gonna do?
leave
How am I
this?
gonna let? How am I gonna let go
And
of
mind you,
this?
I have a family relying on me, right? And I had to go all in. And when I was forced to do so, I said to myself, you know what? I have to make this happen. And I'll tell you something. So much information that was available to me. So I launched my training, and I start reaching out to dealers who
Start
had
knocking down doors. Yeah.
and now dealerships who knew what I was doing, and they wanted to, like, yeah, let me know when you have one. And dealerships started signing up and sending people to this training. And all of a sudden, like a couple of nights before, I think might have been even the night before, I get this message, and the training was like $399, and I get this message that someone signed up for the training. It wasn't a dealer. Majority of the people were being sent by their dealerships because they knew me already. The dealerships knew me. They knew my stuff was real. They knew it worked. But someone,
Well, you have a track record.
Yeah.
You have a proven track record.
So someone on social media who was following me signed up from a course. And I was laying in bed actually,
So
and I look at my
this
wife.
is of someone who invested in themselves.
Invested in themselves.
I love that.
Took $399 out of their pocket.
And said, I want to do better.
I'm gonna go. I want to learn from this guy. And when I tell you, I'm sitting there and I sat up in my bed and I'm like, somebody just signed. And I'm like, is this spam? Like, what's going on here? Damien Dwyer. I'm gonna say his name because he's incredible. I literally turned to my wife and I started crying. I literally got emotional over it because I'm like,
He made it real.
100%. Someone
He
said,
made it
hey,
real.
I'm willing to take money out of my pocket. Mind you, it's $400. And I told my wife, I said, I have to give him $40,000 worth of information. Come to find out, not only did he take money out of his pocket, but he stayed at a hotel the night before so he didn't have to drive from Jersey to the event in Long Island. And that solidified it for me. Like, people have to understand the importance of investing in themselves. And leaders, quote unquote, there's managers and there's leaders. I always say managers get busy with paperwork, leaders get busy with people work. That's the way I see it. Unfortunately, some managers don't see it. If you invest in your people, time and energy, you'll see how they'll benefit and how they'll grow. So let me ask you this. So now you decide to leave. Now you have to have this conversation with this gentleman who just spent this incredible amount of money and helped grow you and saw potential in
boy,
you.
was that tough.
Tell me, how does that go?
It was very difficult. I was at a point in my career where now I'm in my 30s. Right? I've spent 13, 14 years in this store, in this place, walking around in the showroom floor, holding it down and being a soldier more than anything for my guy. This is my guy. I believe deeply that my responsibility and my duty is to develop people. And I developed several people, and you can see them all over the store. And I'm looking around, and every single manager that's at the store is someone who originated from my team, that learned from my trainings, that learned from my team, that grew up in the car business with my culture and my way of thinking and my way of behaving and my way of how to take care of customers. And it was a combination of, did I hit a glass ceiling? Or am I doing a disservice to my team that's watching me? Am I going to stop here? Is this the end for Jason? Or do I show the rest? Do I show them how you could break through that and show them how you continue to grow, how you continue to expand? And
it's also motivation for people.
Yes.
If you think about it, it's like, I'll be honest with you. If, that happened to me. I hit a ceiling and I got comfortable with the income. And I was like, well, I'm doing really well. I'm making money. Good.
Believe me, I know exactly how you feel.
I know I wanted more, but I almost said, "Hey,
You're good though.
this is no, not just that. This is where you belong."
Correct. So you're better than I am because I didn't even feel like I belonged there. So for me, it was imposter syndrome, and I was living that. I came from the hood. I used to change cans for 5 cents to be able to afford enough money to buy sneakers or shoes at Payless, right? To be made fun of at school, right? I know what it's like to go to a supermarket with food stamps and go buy food and groceries. And for me, I was making more money than I ever thought I was going to make. And I was earning substantial income. Not only that, but I was respected in the community. I had won several awards. I'm recognized. I'm on TV. I'm on radio. I walk into places, people recognize me. So in my little community, I'm a little mini celebrity, and people recognize me. People come into the dealership, and it's the sale. It's so easy. This is before social media. Now you can become Instagram famous, and you can do the same stuff. But I'm talking about prior to that. When people come in and recognize you and want to do a transaction with you because they already trust you because they've been seeing you on the radio and I'm seeing you on the TV, hearing you on the radio for years. And it's like, no, I'm here to see Jason Graciano. Okay, great, blah, blah, blah. And I'm gonna leave all this stuff behind. I was fortunate enough to be recognized on a national level in Automotive News 40 on the 40. I was 30 years old, and once that hit, well, prior to that, but that really like launched it. People started reaching out to me, dealer groups, big auto groups that own, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 dealerships start reaching out to me and offering me all sorts of stuff. And these aren't small offers. These are offers that are life-changing. These are offers that you say yes and your life changes and the potential of generations to come. And you say no long enough, and then at some point it's like
They stop.
the universe is speaking to you. The universe is talking to you. The universe is trying to tell you something. First it whispers, then it tells you something, then it yells, and at some point hits you over the head with a brick. Pay attention. And I just felt like it was my time to go. I felt like it was my responsibility.
So what was that conversation like when you had the conversation with him? I know this story, so I love this story, by the way.
So for me, it was an impossible conversation to build up that courage. It was one of the most difficult things that I had to do up until then. And him and I, we have a great relationship where I'm just the guy who just says it how it is. I'm very transparent. Some people like it, some people don't. I have a lot of friends because of it. I've lost a lot of friends because of it. So I go up to him and I say, this is not a comfortable conversation. This is a very difficult thing for me to say. I'm going to just say how it is. I gave him most people in the car business are known for quitting on the spot. Most people resign on the last day of the month. Some people give 2 weeks notice without the expectation of actually working those 2 weeks. A lot of dealers, when they receive a 2-week notice, they terminate the person right there on the spot. But I knew that wasn't me. This is my home. So I gave a 3-month notice. Hey, Brian, this is just me and you having a conversation. I just want to let you know that I need to move on to something else. 3-month notice. And I said, I promise you I'll take care of the store and I'll take care of you. I won't leave it bad. And it's...
Well, that's just a reflection on you. I had someone tell me once when he left the dealership, he's like, I hope they fail. I said, well, that's just a reflection on you.
That's terrible.
That means you just weren't a good leader. You didn't develop the people that were, were on your team to move into that role. That's not a good leader.
That is not my style. And that's not a leader. That's not a person that I probably wouldn't even work with that person.
That's a manager.
But for me, it was a responsibility of, hey, let me give you a heads up. Whatever you got to arrange on your end, you arrange on your end. I'm going to do my part. Let me tell you what it is that I'm going to do. I'm going to leave the store set up. It's going to be better than it's ever been. And I did just that. I gave a 3-month notice, kept it quiet, did what I had to do, started the succession plan, right? Because I already have leaders in place. And the person that I said, hey, give this guy a shot. This is the person that I'm training, developing, and this is the person that knows everything that I know to be able to continue what we're doing, continue the culture, continue the training, continue the vibe. I call it vibe because there's no other word for it, but it's the vibe, and that's Ariel who was here also. And
now let's be clear, you guys have a bunch of leaders in that store who are tremendous.
Tremendous amount of leaders. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's gone up through the ranks, and it's known for being a great school. And it's not a great school because it's easy. It's a great school because it's a grind, because it's hard, because it's challenging, because it's not for everyone. And the ones that make it, they rise to the top and they stand out head and shoulders amongst the rest. They're real leaders. And
So what does he say to you? Like,
he was shocked. It was a very emotional conversation on both sides. I told him what he meant to me. I gave him his flowers. Told him what he had done. Changed. He absolutely changed my life. Let him know that. Some people come into your life and they do something for you.
what does he say? That's what we're trying to get to.
He said, "Okay." He said, "If we're sitting here and you're having this conversation, you already made your decision." And I did. I had made it. I wasn't going to see what I wasn't going for advice. I wasn't going, "Hey, what do you think I should do?" I was going because this is where I'm at in my life. And he understood that. And he separated the business owner from the human being and understood and showed empathy. Showed empathy where I was at in my life. I'm young, I'm single, I have no children, right? My career's flourishing. I'm in my prime. I have to do this. I have to. And that was the single most impactful moment and decision of my life. Doing that and that separation, not because I needed to separate, because I needed to be an individual and I needed to do stuff on my own. That attracted everything else into my life.
So which is awesome, and I love that story. I know you told me that how, because obviously that was a big part of your life, and obviously you and I had spoken about it. And when you told me how it went down, I was blown away, because most managers wouldn't have handled it as gracefully as he did. And kudos to him, because that's it's very difficult. Right, some people may get offended and be like, "Wait a minute!" They start, slamming their hands and like, get out. They
big
throw you
props,
out. Like, you're gonna fail.
Big props to
you
how
can never
he
come
handled
back.
it.
Absolutely. So you
How
know
he
the stories.
handled it determined how our relationship was
Continued on. Yeah,
after that.
absolutely.
How I handled it determined our relationship after that as well.
So
we both handled it extremely well. And I've been on the other side of that, where I'm the recruiter and I'm the one headhunting. I'm the one building a team.
I tell people
and
all
I
the
tell
time,
people, hurry up. Can you start tomorrow? Can you start next week?
as big as the car business is, it's this small. I mean, you can't buy yourself out of a bad reputation, and you can develop a bad reputation very
easy.
quickly.
Very quickly.
So you make a move to
Florida.
And then you start.
So I was offered an opportunity at that level. I'm already at the general manager level, but I'm not a partner in a store. And I'm offered the opportunity to be a partner in a store, in a dealership. And you're talking about 15 years, 16 years, 15 years later, I go from never having sold a car in my life. 15 years later, I get an opportunity to be a dealer. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Now
It's my dream.
you didn't just go work at a dealership. You opened a store.
Right.
Because I remember.
Yeah. Oh, you really want to get.
I remember you with the heart. You sending me videos.
Yeah. I didn't go just work at a
on.
dealership.
Yeah.
So, okay. So this was an Open Point Nissan store in Florida, in Palm Beach, Florida. Open Point is.
Yeah.
There's never been a dealership there. It's from the ground up. It's do the whole construction, learning all the wiring and stuff. And I'm going to the person that I'm there with now, and I'm like, I don't know anything about this. Listen, go over there, ask questions. Say, why is this there? Why is that there? Why is this here? When is this going to be done? And ask those type of questions, and you'll learn. So I did that, and I went through the whole building process of an 8 or 9 acre, probably 45, 50,000 square foot facility,
which is almost amazing.
With a 4 or 5 story parking deck.
We talk about what's
crazy.
possible in the automotive industry. Like, think about that. Like, you literally are building a facility. I remember you used to send me the pictures of you with the hard hat. Be like, yo, look what I'm doing.
Oh, I was there live.
Yeah.
Live. It was real deal.
I remember that. So, again, talk about what's possible. That's huge.
Yeah, and in the car business, depending on which road you take, and I'm so glad that the road I took is the road I took. And there's very few people that have that level of experience, that level of intimacy in a dealership where they've done it all. I'm talking about doing it all. Have you? Oh yeah, you ever been in a dealership for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years? Oh yeah, have you built a dealership from the ground up? Have you started with zero people? I'm not talking about zero salespeople. Have you started with zero employees and have to hire the entire staff? I have. I've had to hire the entire staff. I'm talking about salespeople, porters,
Receptionist,
mechanics, receptionists, office personnel,
billers. Yep.
everything. Technicians, mechanics, parts department. One of the things that I'm most proud of, which is like building a parts department, bin by bin, screw and everything. Just like putting them in place.
The nuts and bolts. Yep.
The nuts and bolts of the literally the nuts and bolts of the organization of the business.
So I have a question. So from there, you're in Florida for a while, and let's be clear. I would just want to mention this because of you mentioned before that you were single. Let's just be crystal clear because I don't want to get in trouble. You are married,
Oh no, I'm currently
So-
I'm not married. I'm happily married.
happily married.
I am married and living the dream. Man, you don't understand. We could have a whole separate session just about marriage and how blessed I am to live the life that I have with the wife that I have and the mother to my children that I have. It is an absolute dream come true.
I'm telling you, I tell my wife all the time, like I could not do what I'm doing without her. Like this,
Oh, it's
this
impossible.
does. And how many times?
You need a partner.
100%.
You need a partner. You need somebody there in the trenches with you.
Absolutely.
And for me, my partner, my person in the trenches, my person that gets my head right, the person that allows me and gives me the opportunity to do what I do is my wife. You know, I live in Florida today.
Yeah.
I live in Florida. And the dealership that I'm a partner at is in Westchester, New York. That's a hell of a commute.
Yeah.
So I'm flying up and down 3 days, 4 days, 3 days, 4 days, 3 days, 4 days. As we're speaking now, we're in June, early June, and I'm on flight number 50 year to date. This year, I'm going to do 120, 130 flights.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be with my wife or sleep with my family about 140, 150 days out of the year.
Now,
If it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't be able to do that.
let's talk about that. So now you're in Florida for a little while. For some reason, things, and I say the universe pulled you back, and an opportunity came up for you to do what?
So I'm in Florida for a few years. I did the Nissan store. Did that. It was wildly successful. Was able to be profitable within 6 months. Build a crazy team. Selling close to 200 cars. Having no cars in inventory. To going out and buying. Imagine that, the experience of having to buy 100% of the inventory, having zero inventory when you open the doors, having to go to the auction and buy every single car. That's not an experience that everybody in the car business gets to have, right? So I go through the motions and I'm able to divest from that because now I'm building a family. Got a girl, got a wife, we're having babies. I want to be present. I can't do this 6 or 7 days a week because I was working 6 or 7 days a week. I was working 100 days straight, take 2 days off, work 100 days straight, take 1 day off. And that's just not sustainable, right? Something's got to give. And what I decided on was I'm going to be a man first. I'm going to be a husband. I'm going to be a father. And so I took some time off, did that, got back into the business, partnered up at an Acura store, which was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. What an amazing group. Phil Smith Auto Group. They just top notch. I was able to get a partnership at an Acura store, took that store to the top 25 in the country, built a team there, which is still intact. Amazing. We did incredible things. And I'm there, and one day Brian calls me up, which, Brian for me is still my mentor. We still have a relationship. We still stay in contact. And he calls me up, and I know that he purchased the Honda store in Westchester, White Plains Honda. And he calls me up, and he goes like, he just sends, actually, he didn't even call me up. He sent me a picture, right? It was a GIF of the Batman on top of a roof looking at the bat signal. I got it. That's the bat signal. I need you. And on my end, the I need you comes back with, I got you. I'll be there. I'll do what it is. Give me a couple months to square things out. Because my situation over there, the same way I left Paragon, that doesn't mean that's who I am.
Yep.
I gave them 3 months notice. I put somebody in place. I made sure that this team and the store did better with my absence. I still called up and checked in on everybody there on the leadership. How's it going? What are you doing? What did you do? How'd you perform? What's coming up? Tell me the metrics on this, and this. Okay, do this, and that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the leadership doesn't stop when you're working together. You no longer work together. That means I'm no longer responsible to develop you. Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
It's my duty to you, right? So did that. I was straddling and working both at the same time. So I was working 7 days a week for another 3-4 months while I was doing the one in Acura and the one in Honda, making sure that both are good. And, long story short, I'm there 16 months now. In the last 16 months, 14 have been all-time records in everything. We've broken every single record in the last 16 months since the store's been open. And I'm talking about units, gross profit, service, parts, everything.
That's amazing. Still doing training?
I wouldn't have been able to do what I do if it wasn't for the training that I've put in. And I'm not the only one doing the training. I've invited you over to the store several times, and every single time you go, all I have is raving fans.
I appreciate that.
And you're not the only training that we've done.
Mm-hmm.
We've done other trainings, and it doesn't resonate as much. It doesn't connect as much because number one, you're real. You've been in the business and you sell cars currently. There's a lot of trainers that used to sell cars once upon a time, 5, 6, 7, 10, 20, 15 years ago. You're doing that live. And you could talk from experience as to this is how you sell cars today.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you used to sell cars in the early 2000s. This is how I used to sell cars in 2010. No, this is how I sold cars. I sold 3 cars this week. This is what I did.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it resonates with people that are looking to sell a car now. Right? So I'm super grateful for everything you've done. Super pleased with the job that you've done as far as training and developing our people.
No, well, listen, and I appreciate your trust in me to do so. Listen, it's one thing to train your people the way you feel they should be trained, but when you're handing them to someone and saying,
"Hey, that's my baby.
That's it. Like,
you better take care of them."
So
hey, I'm the one that's entrusted with making sure that person who is a husband, a father, a brother, a son of someone, make sure you take care of them.
So that to me, and going back, right, and going full circle, is what made me successful in selling cars. Is what makes me successful in training people.
It's because you care.
It's because I care.
And I heard this a long time ago. In order for people to feel like you care, you really gotta care.
Mm-hmm. No, I do. And everybody who's been through my training program, it's funny because we talk all the time. Like, they reach out to me, and I really want to see people excel in their careers. So yeah, no, I appreciate you again, you trusting me. I want to ask you a couple more questions. I want to know about your legacy. What is Jason Graciano's legacy that he wants to leave on the world?
Man, I think the way I live my life, I think the story of my life, I over document. I learned early on from Jim Rohn, there's 3 treasures you can leave behind. And the 3 treasures is pictures or videos, right? A journal. So I write a lot, I document a lot, a journal, and your library. The library you leave behind and the books that you've read in your life tells a story about who you are, tells a story about how you lived your life, and it leaves an imprint. And for me, I try and document as much of how I live my life to leave for my children, right? Because I'm not the type of person that's trying to make a better world. I'm not trying to change the world. I'm not trying to make a better world. I'm trying to leave amazing children for the world. I want to try to make better children, right? And for me, legacy is more of, whose life is better because you lived.
That's it.
And I have such an incredible Rolodex. I'm so blessed. We could sit here and maybe we'll do an episode where it's just me calling people randomly and put them on speaker. They say, "Hey, let me ask you a question. You know Jason Graciano?" This is you asking. "You know Jason Graciano? Hey, let me ask you a question. How'd you work with him? What did he do for you? How did he change your life?" And being able to get those responses. And it's not 10, not 20, not 50. It's hundreds of people. And being able to get those people, now that they're grown and we're at a different stage of our lives, being able to see these men and women that now have families that they're able to support, that are able to live lifestyles that are not necessarily average or common, all thanks to some training, some developing, some
Absolutely.
discipline, some habits that we learned early on.
That's awesome. Some closing thoughts. What advice would you give young Jason Graciano? Looking back
Some
now,
advice that I would give,
trials and tribulations, through everything you've been through, what would you say to young Jason?
what I would say to young Jason, which I've done later in my life, which I wish I would have done earlier, is fall in love with your story. You are who you are. And for me, it was something that was like embarrassing. You know, I was like, no, my parents didn't graduate college. My father didn't even graduate high school. No, I'm a product of immigrants. You know, my father came in where we grew up broke, always trying to show up and show out, be better than. And it was like, no, but that's what you did. That's what you went through. That's the struggle that you went through. Whenever I was afraid or whenever I was scared of anything, I would try and hide it and put up a front. The old school slang. Put up a front as to, no, I'm good. I got this. Instead of being vulnerable and being honest with yourself and saying, hey, I need some help. Just falling in love with who you are. The moment that you fall in love with your story and you own your story and understand that you are unique because of your story, my life changed
I love it.
when I accepted that.
I love it. I love it. Tell our listeners how they can get in contact with you. What's your social media? How can people get in contact with you?
Reach out, DM, Instagram, anything. Jason Graciano. All my handles, everywhere you can find me, whether it's on Instagram, X, Facebook. People still use Facebook, TikTok, whatever. It's all
MySpace.
MySpace. High five.
Mi
Hit me up.
mi gente.
Mi gente. Oh my God, mi gente. Damn, that's back.
Listen.
Jason Graciano. I have no problem. You have a question. You want to test. You want to verify. Shoot me a text. 917-378-5142. My number's posted up on Google. My number's posted all over the place. It's the same phone number I've had for 24 years. It was my beeper number. Feel free to text me. Call me, leave your message. Good luck. Feel free to text me. You know, I'm available. I'm open. My number one goal in life is to contribute. So if you feel like there's a way that I can contribute to you, to your friends, to your business, to your organization, to your family, whatever it is, let's chop it up.
Thank you so much, Jason. I really appreciate having you and all of the things you shared. We could have sat here for 3 hours, 4 hours. I think it was 3 hours. But
To make it quick, we would have done 3 hours.
yes. So, but no, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. I know your schedule is crazy, and really sharing for the followers who are joining us and watching these videos. Hopefully, you have some inspiration, some motivation, and some information that you're taking away with this. Because again, the automotive industry and any sales industry, for that matter, if you do it right, it could be a blessing. So hopefully making the most of it. If you find this content valuable, please share it with your family, your friends, share it on social media. It really means the world to me. Again, thank you so much for sharing this journey with me. And till next time, look forward to seeing you.